Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to understand about the Terraform resource meta argument count. So if a resource or a module block includes a count argument whose value is a whole number, Terraform will create that many instances. Example, if EC2 instance has a count argument inside that with a number as 2 or 3 or 4, that single resource, whatever the EC2 instance resource, whatever we have written in Terraform configuration, will be able to create the number of instances, how much we have provided the value inside the count argument. So each instance has a distinct infrastructure object associated with it, and each is separately created, updated or destroyed when the configuration is applied. So example, like with a single AWS instance resource, you have created 3 EC2 instances. So using a single resource, you have created 3 EC2 instances. So each instance can be created, updated or destroyed separately. So each one is distinct infrastructure object from Terraform perspective. Even the resource configuration is same, but each can be identified distinctly. So the count meta arguments accepts numeric expressions. So in addition to when we have seen for the previous meta argument depends on, arbitrary expressions are not allowed there. And when we come to the meta argument count, here numeric expressions are allowed. So the count value must be known before Terraform performs any remote resource actions. So in addition to count, there will be something called count.index, the distinct index number starting with 0 corresponding to the respective instance. Okay, so when count is set, Terraform distinguishes between the block itself and the multiple resource or module instances associated with it. Instances are identified by an index number starting with 0. So example, like you have 3 instances, then your resource type, which is nothing but AWS underscore instance dot resource local name. Example, like my VM or my EC2 VM of 0 will be my first EC2 instance, and of 1, okay, so in this square brackets, if you put 1, it will be the second instance. If you put 2, it is third instance or second instance. So like this, you can incrementally add your instances and then identify those instances distinctly and then update or destroy those instances distinctly using count and then count index. And finally, module support for count was added in Terraform 0.13 only. So earlier it was only for the resource block, okay, but now it is allowed for module block also to be used. Means like count argument, meta argument can be used in modules also from Terraform 0.13 onwards. And finally, a given resource or a module block cannot use both count and for each inside the same block. Okay, so if you are taking a EC2 instance block or a EC2 instance module block, so either you can use count or for each. Only one meta argument you can use from these two inside that. Continuing, so what are we going to implement? Means like what is the use case to learn this argument, which is meta argument of count and then count index. So using meta argument count, we are going to create multiple EC2 instances using the single resource. So if you see, this is a resource of resource type AWS instance with local name as web and whose AMI value is some Amazon Linux AMI and instance type is t2.micro. And here you can see the count argument, count meta argument. So I'm saying here the value as 5, which means it is going to create 5 EC2 instances. And name also I'm going to put web hyphen dollar flower brackets count dot index. So what happens at this point is it will create the name of my instances with web hyphen 0, web hyphen 1, web hyphen 2, web hyphen 3 and then web hyphen 4. So that's about the count and then count dot index implementation which we are going to do now. And each instance you can uniquely identify with the count dot index number. Okay, so resource type AWS underscore instance dot web of 0 will give us the instance 1 from this resource AWS instance. So web of 1 will be instance 2, web of 2 will be instance 3, and web of 3 will be instance 4, and then web of 4 will be instance 5. So count 5 will create 5 instances, and each instances can be referenced with the resource type dot local name of 0, local name of 1, local name of 2, local name of 3, and then local name of 4, starting with 0. So that's about the count and then count index on a high level. So let's go ahead and then implement this in our next lecture. So I'll see you in the next lecture. Until then, bye bye. Thank you.